of similar to like the Padres.
Yeah.
You know, the Braves have Acuna and Albies and Marcell Ozuna, the Freddie Freeman, you know, and in that type of lineup, you have to complement that offense with some good pitching.
Yeah.
You know, pitching wins the playoffs. You can't go into the playoffs and expect to win on just hammering the ball as hard as you can.
Yeah, you know, it's I think, well, the hitting is always going to be there for the Braves and the Padres and teams like that. And when we look at trades and we're looking like, well, that's not a great pitcher for them. I don't know why they went and got him. Well, you got to look at the differential between your offense runs and then how many runs does the pitcher give up. If the pitcher's giving up 4 to 3 runs a game and your offense is actually supplying 5 to 6, then you got a good trade. I think that's a great trade if you go ahead and do that, because you're looking at your numbers and you're saying, okay, we don't want to spend so many players on one pitcher, because if we go ahead and get rid of a pitcher that it's going to be like he has a 1-point ERA, we don't really need him right now because we're scoring 5 to 6 runs a game. You know, let's go get someone that's going to be less expensive, and we'll give up this, you know, we'll give up 2 minor leaguers, not even top prospects, and we can get someone that allows 3 to 4 runs a game. We'll be in the mix. We'll be winning games. So I think that's a good trade. I think it's a great trade, to be honest. Like we're waiting for this big trade, and these are good trades. You know, these are good trades for these teams. But that big splash trade, that's what all baseball fans are waiting for. We're baseball fans, and we're still waiting for it, even though we're saying, okay, yeah, that's a good trade, but we're still waiting for it. We're still waiting for that huge trade. Every year we get one. And, I mean, you know, hopefully this is a pricing team that does it.
If you think about the 3 big splash trades that you're talking about that could possibly happen, you have Fransisco Lindor that could be just a rental, you know, because I believe he's going to be a free agent after the season. And then you have Mike Clevinger, who has 3 years of control for whatever team acquires him. And then you also have Lance Lynn, you know, so there's 3 huge trades that could still possibly happen. And we have a little more than 24 hours to get that done. So like we said about Lance Lynn before, that you have the Dodgers, White Sox, Padres, and possibly Blue Jays that are going after this guy. I'm sure Clevinger has a lot more
interest than the Yankees.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Clevinger is a better pitcher than Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's doing better than Clevinger this season, and you also have to worry about, you know, him breaking the rules about the COVID thing. So Lance Lynn, he's going to be a little bit cheaper than Clevinger, which is maybe why we'll see that one happen before we see the Clevinger deal happen.
Yeah.
You know, Clevinger is going to require 2 really good top prospects, and possibly even more than that. Maybe even someone to a starting pitcher to take over in Cleveland, since they're going to lose a starting pitcher.
Yeah. Or someone that's actually have MLB experience already to actually take over his spot. Yeah, that one's a little more difficult, but, you know, if the Yankees are willing to do that, then go ahead, you know. And if they go ahead and do that, they probably go in and get Lindor as well, because they want to go ahead and make that big trade, and they're trying to win the World Series. And just like any other team, every team goes into the season wanting to win the World Series. And right now with the short season, you're seeing these teams that have never been in the mix are actually trying to get that extra push, because now they're making the playoffs. Remember, there's 16 teams making this playoff bracket, and you know, it's going to be a little bit more intense. And as the deadline is nearing, I feel like there's going to be more little trades than bigger trades. I think the little trades that are happening are just what the team is looking for to help out a little bit more, not extremely, but a little bit more than what they already have. So
yeah, I think with the DH in the National League, that's really what's making a lot of these other trades going through also.
I agree with that one. Yeah.
I just saw a new update that the Rangers are shopping Lynn, but they're also shopping Gallo. So now Joey Gallo might be in the mix. And if you know Joey Gallo, that's a huge left-handed bat that's going to give you 50 home runs in a regular season, you know? Yeah. So imagine having that guy being your DH for the rest of the season. You know, being a Dodger fan, I'd love to see that guy as the DH on our roster. But, you know, we don't really need a guy like that, so that's really not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Padres just acquired Mitch Moreland, so I don't think that they'd really be interested in Gallo. But, you know, Gallo can play first base and he can also play outfield. So, you know, first base and outfield, you have 3 outfielders, and he could definitely take the place of at least one on every single MLB roster. So I think every team should inquire about a guy like that.
Yeah, and I feel like we've talked about it before where a DH is not really necessary in the National League, but because of this year of COVID, there's DH in the National League. So don't be surprised if he goes to the National League team to be a DH and just play DH and that's it. You said
Yeah.
he's a good outfielder. He could play potentially be an outfielder for any team, but if you have room for a DH spot, then why not just put him on that? And especially for a National League team. So yeah, that would be a good trade as well. You have any more trades, or that's all the
We
trades
got
that
some
have been
rumors
happening.
we can talk about. That it says that the D-backs could be sellers. Archie Bradley and Starling Marte are on the trade block right now. So
Okay.
Starling Marte is also a really good defensive
Player.
outfielder that
Yeah.
has some good bat skills.
Mm-hmm.
Archie Bradley, it's really hard to find good relievers in today's game because of the home run ball being such a problem for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And Archie Bradley, he's actually, he's a pretty good pitcher. He's been the closer for the D-backs for a couple seasons now. Was a setup guy before that, and I really think that that's a guy that's not going to be really like too expensive, but he could definitely be a great asset to any team's relief spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one's a good one. Bradley, being from the West Coast, I've seen him pitch all the time, and he's always delivered, except for a few times. But that was good again. That was good because I
Yeah,
was a Dodger fan. But he's a reliable pitcher. He is a really reliable pitcher. So whoever decides to go ahead and go after him and pay the price for him, I think is a great asset. He's a great asset to the team, and I think he'll be a good closer if they get him to be a closer, or if even get him to be a setup man for those that need a bullpen. So I think that's a really good trade if they go ahead after Bradley.
yeah. I don't remember if Bradley was on any other team before the D-backs. I don't recall, but his problem's always been kind of the long ball. He gives up a lot of home runs, but that could also be the pitching coaching.
Yeah,
So if he goes to a different team that notices something that the Diamondbacks pitching coach didn't notice, that could really be a huge help to him also.
yeah,
You know?
that's true. That's
Uh,
true.
Another trade that could possibly go through is there's a few teams that have checked in on Josh Hader. Now, Josh Hader is the best closer in the game right now.
Wow.
He has the best numbers out of any closer. He's on a decent team with the Brewers, but the Brewers I feel like they already know like they're not World Series contenders yet. So trading a guy like Josh Hader could possibly, give them the future tools that they possibly need for a World Series run.
Yeah.
So the team that has checked in on Josh Hader is the Dodgers. And
Damn.
if you know that, if you follow Kenley Jensen's career at all, he was the number one closer for a while, but for the past couple seasons, his velocity's been dropping down. His cutter isn't cutting too much. He's starting to rely on more of a four seam and a slider combination. So
Yeah.
Kenley Jensen is definitely still a really good pitcher. He's a mid twos to low threes ERA guy. Um, Still pretty decent strikeouts, but Josh Hader is second to none. So if a team like the Dodgers were to get a pitcher like Josh Hader, that would just solidify pretty much every single game that they are in the lead.
Damn. So you think that Jensen will get traded for Hader, and then they'll go ahead and trade off one of their top pitchers? I mean, because I know Hader's not going to be something that's really cheap to get. I mean, the Brewers are still in the mix in the playoffs. They're in second place in the Central. So, I mean, yeah, their record shows different because they're under 500. It's because of the division. It's not all that great. But at the same time, they're in second place in the division to go ahead into the playoffs, and they go ahead and make that trade. They get a starting pitcher off of it, especially like you said, the Dodgers are the ones that are interested. I'm pretty sure they'll go ahead and trade off one of their top prospect pitchers, and they'll put them in the starting rotation because they do need starters. So I think that will be a good trade for both teams, if the way I'm seeing it. But would it happen? Will Jensen be part of that trade, or will Jensen, allow? Because every time we hear rumors, you start hearing about your closer like, I don't want to give up my spot, I don't want to do this, and we've heard it with Jensen a lot of every year. Every year the Dodgers, kind of see the closer that are available, and he always has something to say either on Instagram or Twitter. It's not a problem. I mean, all the players can voice their opinion, but he's come off and said, like, I'm not ready to give up my closer role. And then Roberts go ahead and backs him up and tell him, no, we're getting this pitcher to help you out unless you mess up. But that could be a problem for the team as well. So if that does go through, I got a feeling Jensen is going to Milwaukee, and with him is going to be a starting pitcher, because Milwaukee's looking for a starting pitcher, and if it does happen, I feel that that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thinking about the Dodgers starting rotation or a pitcher in the farm that could possibly go to the Brewers, Tony Gonsolin is getting the start for today because Walker Buehler's on the IL. So maybe this is a chance for the Brewers to see Tony Gonsolin one more time, see how he pitches, and he could possibly be part of that trade also.
So it's like a showcase start, kind of. Yeah,
maybe.
right? Yeah.
But honestly, for Josh Hader, I don't think that the Brewers are going to go for just Jansen and Tony Gonsolin. I think that they're going to have to add at least one more player to the mix, in addition to maybe some cash also.
Yeah, and then the Brewers will have to add a prospect or something, because it's just a huge conversation if we keep talking about it, because we don't really know actually what's going on behind the scenes. But for sure, that's just a trade that's just like, okay, I'm gonna make your team better, but I need to make my team better as well, because we're still in the mix in the playoffs, and it's anybody's game at this point. It's anybody's game, even though we see the Dodgers playing great baseball. If they, what did we say last podcast we had? If they go into the playoffs and let's say they face the Giants in the 8th place, they're going to have it tough against them. The Giants have been playing the Dodgers pretty tough. So what if the Giants, go and make a trade that is not a big significant trade, but it happens, and that trade makes a difference for them. That's why I think a lot of teams are actually looking at their at what they're doing and what they're capable of doing. So they're going to go ahead and make those little trades. And it's not a big splash one like we want, because we're baseball fans, but those little ones are the ones that are going to change the team's, way of thinking and the way of playing. So, if that trade goes on with the Brewers, I think it would just solidify the Dodgers, to me, being the World Series champions. Because come on, like, you got the top closer in your team already, like, and you already have a good team.
In addition to like a top 3 rotation and all of baseball.
Exactly. It's like, come on, like, you're just gonna be a good team, so I don't know.
You already got the lineup, from top to bottom. You got guys that rake, you got guys that, can bat close to 300. Justin Turner is a little banged up right now. He's going to be on, out at least for a few days, but that guy, he's a top third baseman. He's a top 10 third baseman. Corey Seager is a top 10 shortstop. Mookie Betts is a top 10 right fielder. Cody Bellinger is a top 10 center fielder. Max Muncy is a top 10 first baseman.
Yeah.
You have so many good hitters in that lineup, and you have so many good pitchers in the rotation, and you have a really good bullpen also. So adding a guy like that, honestly, real talk, game over.
Yeah. So I mean, that hope it we'll see what happens, right? Any other trades? Anything else you want to mention before we sign off?
That's it, other than some, little rumors or whatever, but we can talk about that in our next podcast.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for listening. This is Real Talk Baseball and Carlos Baseball, and this is Willpower signing out. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. No, we don't have a Twitter. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, we post videos and we post rumors. So hopefully you guys are already doing that. And if you're not, go ahead and click that like on the YouTube video and subscribe. And like I said, this is Carlos Baseball and Willpower signing out.
See you guys.